Well, we talked about it yesterday, how the GOP is completely dropping the ball. I laid out what I thought the only path forward is last night. Now, I don't know if Vivek Ramaswamy actually watched my segment before he went on stage, but man, he let Ronna McDaniel have it last night. This is the unwatchable presidential debate. One good thing on NBC News came out of it.
We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate?
Not wrong. Look, Vivek has less than a snowball's chance in hell of being elected, but he is exactly right. Why do you think Trump isn't going to any of these debates? Now, Ronna McDaniel, Mitt Romney's niece, by the way, is the figurehead of the problem here. I said this back when she spent like $100 grand of donor dollars on hair and makeup just in 2022. But the bigger problem is the notion of action and organization is entirely different between the two parties. And I have seen this firsthand in so many places across the country. Folks, just before the show started, I was an elected member of my town council, so I know about this stuff. Republicans get together, and I have been in the meetings. They get together, and everyone has an idea, and everybody has a plan, and the meeting adjourns, and nothing happens. There's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. There are very few sled dogs that actually do the work in the Republican Party. We hold fancy events, we hire expensive strategists and consultants and big-name speakers, but we as Republicans do not have enough people pounding the phones, knocking on doors, and doing the legwork. We don't hire them either. We as a party, the Republican Party, push all that off on the candidates, who also often have a similar problem in their campaigns. One guy can't hit every door in his district. Honestly, you sitting at home, and folks, I'm not knocking you, I'm not lecturing you. As you're watching the show right now, if you live in one of the 37 states that had an election yesterday on Tuesday, how many doors did you personally knock on? Think about it. How many phone calls did you make to remind people to get out to the voting polls? Did your neighbor do it too? I can show you on my phone logs, folks. I made over 300 phone calls on Tuesday from a sheet that my local party chair sent me to ask people to get out and vote at the polls. Because in my town, we took that page from the Democratic playbook, and it worked. Think about this. Democrats advocate for higher taxes, more control over your life, and in every city and state they control, people are fleeing in droves from high costs, taxes, crime, loss of freedoms, whatever. Perfect example. Look at New York and look at Florida. Who's leaving and who's going to which state? They're not going to Democratic states, folks. And despite all this, it's on full display. It's still a 50-50 proposition in America. How little do we have to do right? Their policies are worse than the WNBA ratings, and yet every national election comes down to the wire. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Because Democrats organize. This is what they do. Most of them don't have jobs. They don't have hobbies. This is their hobby. They raise money and have full-time activists. Hey, you go here and just protest for a month, break some stuff if you have to, and don't worry, Kamala Harris will raise money to bail you out. Where are the Republican-paid peaceful, and I emphasize peaceful, protesters in front of Democratic representatives' homes that refuse to shut down the border that's killing people in America? Oh, Carl, that's uncivil. Well, it may be. But it's what they do to us, and they win. I'm certainly not advocating for this, folks, but these people threaten the lives of Supreme Court justices after someone leaked the Dobbs decision. They conveniently never found that person who leaked that, by the way. The two national parties raised just under $1 billion last year. Dems slightly edged out Republicans, but it was around $900 million each. How was that money spent? It was totally different between the two parties. If you looked around my town, which has far more registered Democrats than Republicans, at 12:01 a.m., 2 weeks, they give you 14 days before the elections, they had yard signs on every inch of public property. They had stupid slogans. Many of them were complete BS and total lies, but they were there because this is what they do. And they do it by finding a bunch of people who are otherwise unemployable in the real world. They have purple hair, social anxiety, and high blood pressure. And they tell them that you are oppressed. They give them a budget and a paycheck and tell them, you go scream at the people that they have convinced them are oppressing them. Additional independent liberal groups also fund protests and ground games and door knocking, and they do it with almost military precision. It's actually kind of genius if you think about it. We just copied it in my town. But Ronna McDaniel didn't do that. She hasn't in like 5 years. Look, Democrats might have terrible policies, but they turn out their voters. Case in point, in Virginia, the Democrats ran some amateur internet porn star against a local business owner respected in the community, and it was one of the closest races in the state. Their tactics, Democrat tactics, effectively neutralized good Republican policy. How many more times does this have to happen before we start running the same strategy as them? They are also ruthless. They have no shame in going after you, your family, your business, livelihood, whatever. They have no morals when it comes to campaigns. Think about this. In that Virginia House race, when Republicans brought those internet porn videos to light, that she willingly distributed, by the way, Democrats turned around and called it the worst gutter of politics for exposing her porn videos that she willingly did. And what did the GOP do? The RNC, the National Republican Party, spent $0 to help. If I was running the RNC, I would have piled money into that state, making her, that woman that was running, the poster child for all Democrats in Virginia. Anyone that so much as shared a meal with her, I would have been plastering them in every single news ad everywhere. I would have exposed all of her supporters, all of their places of business, and made that Virginia Democrat so unpalatable that she wouldn't get Hugh Hefner to vote for her. Because that is what the Democrats would have done to us, and that's what they're doing to us. And people like Ronna still don't get that for some reason. And that's why Democrats now control the state House and Senate in Virginia. That woman may have lost by a very, very slim margin, but Republicans still lost the state. It takes a lot of work to compete with these policies, folks. I know this. But if you want to win, you got to do it. I don't know how much clearer I can be on this. Ronna McDaniel is not getting the job done. She's just not. But here's the rub, and this is where we as Republicans really need to think about this. Let's say we get rid of all these rhinos. They make up a big enough section of the party to make us lose if they don't come out and vote for the new Republicans that we put forward as candidates. Trust me, this happened in my town last election cycle. We threw all the rhinos out of the Republican Party in town, and the next election cycle, which was last year in the midterms, they went out and voted for Democrats, which ironically is why we threw them off the Republican Party in the first place. But we lost seats that year, some by less than 100 votes. But here's what those people need to understand, those rhinos. And this is a plea to get on board with the new style of Republican, whether you like it or not. Because for years, those people told us to shut up, get in line, whether we are happy or not with the noodle Republican candidate that they chose, and we did. But now that the MAGA Republican is the majority in most of these places, those rhinos want to take their ball and go home. They won't heed their own advice. In fact, in my town, the former Republican chair, who we kicked out, was campaigning with Democrats on Tuesday. See, they will do this. This is the former Republican chair. You got to get these people back on board. I know we trash them all the time, but you got to bring them back in. I don't know how to do it, but we got to do it. The other option is, again, to do what Democrats do, single one or two of them out and make them so unpalatable that there's no choice for the rest of their coalition to join us because they don't want that to happen to them. I hate to say it, but in politics now, it's better to be feared than respected. I hate it, but it's come down to that. You need to back your allies and destroy your enemies. Democrats have been doing this for years with policies that turn cities and states into dumpsters, and they're still winning elections. But the reality, folks, is love it or hate it, you got to win elections in order to govern. And sometimes that path is really hard, and it's not the high road. I'm looking at you, Ronna.